10 years ago, on February 2nd in 2015, the 12th episode of Star Wars Rebels aired on DisneyXD. This video is going to be my 10th anniversary review of that episode, Vision of Hope. So let's just first recap the episode. The episode opens up with Ezra being trained. He's being trained to block blaster bolts, and he has to deflect them to hit a target, which is a Stormtrooper helmet. He's not doing that well. He's a bit distracted. It's getting close to the time where a senator who's been speaking out against the Empire is about to transmit. A senator we've never heard of before, by the way. Anyhow, he eventually does deflect them all, but that's during a vision he has of what's going to happen in the episode. Of course, he doesn't see everything, so well, spoilers, you could say, he misreads it. He's looking for the best that the senator is going to help them and all that. But of course, they do listen to the message, and turns out the senator is coming to Losar, which is giving credence to Ezra's interpretation of his vision. But before that, since Ezra does have that contact in the Imperial Academy on Losar, he goes in and they find out that the Empire is planning on bringing a trap of some form that the Empire is on to the Senator. So they do know that, though this episode, actually does set up one of the young readers' novels that accompanied Star Wars Rebels, I believe, because Ezra's content is being sent off to the Imperial Academy on Arcanus now, so he won't be on Losar to give information anymore. But that's just a minor note there. Does not really impact the greater story too much. But they meet the Senator and all that, and it's a trap.
It's a trap!
They have a firefight and all that, and they escape through the sewer. They also get into the Losar's Old Republic Senate building through the sewers as well. And it's apparently dry now that the Empire is rationing stuff. Yeah. How nice of the Empire to be rationing people's water and food and all that. Not very nice of them. Especially because they probably don't need to be rationing. And I should also mention too that it's established that this Old Republic Senate building on Losar has not been used since the Empire took over, and it sits abandoned, but has a pretty noteworthy mural as well. But anyway, they run through the sewers, and it turns out that the Senator is working for the Empire, trying to root out the rebels and all that. Of course he is. He's voiced by Brent Spiner. Okay, that doesn't mean anything. Brent Spiner plays Data in Star Trek Next Generation, but he also plays Lore. And I feel like he changes more of the songs except for Data. Because nearly every song except for Data seems to have something wrong with him. But that's talking about Star Trek, not Star Wars. And Hera and Kanan are more skeptical of the Senator, and so there's a moment where Ezra and Hera are going to try to disable a fan so they could continue going through. Hera hands her blaster over to the Senator, but she makes sure it's basically set to safety. It's turned off so the Senator can't use it, and he tries to betray them. And that's how they figure it out, and then they leave him there. And they successfully escape, and Ezra asks Hera what's wrong with them, and she says they have hope. And I said the line, I hope I said it correctly just now, but I said the line before she said it, which makes sense. Vision of hope is the title of the episode, and hope is a big theme in Star Wars. But hope that the Empire can be defeated. And yes, while the Senator was working for the Empire, the truth is, as Ezra said, his messages, his transmissions inspired him and probably inspired many other rebels as well. In attempting to root out rebels, there's a good chance the Empire created more rebels. Which is actually kind of what happens in Star Wars The Force Unleashed. Not two, but in one. So I think that's a kind of a neat little connection there. Was it intentional? Probably not, but sometimes let's mention Star Wars Andor, the episode, the axe forgets and the tree remembers. The axe is a heavy hand, but the tree still remembers, and that can inspire more hostility, more opposition to the Empire. Not quite the same, but it's the same mentality. If you inspire people to either hope in a better future or inspire them through anger to oppose the current regime, you're going to get more opposition. That's how people operate, especially when they feel like things are not going to get better. I should also mention too, the scene with the fans definitely reminds me very much of some of the scenes in Star Wars The Force Unleashed 2. Don't know if that was a call out or not. Also remind me a little bit of those spinning drill things on Zephyr in Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. So that covers most of the episode. There's some small things that didn't really fit into my plot recap and the commentaries on those specific beats, such as when they enter the sewer, Chopper goes up first to save the droid and pushes the droid down into the sewer. Chopper was so happy about that. And when the Empire comes sealing off sewers, Chopper immediately begins trying to cut it open once again, and, well, Kanan just uses his lightsaber and Chopper gets mad about that. Just hilarious. But ultimately, those are some nice scenes with Chopper, and he gets to do a little bit of wall climbing for himself. Our favorite little war criminal in Star Wars, I would say. But the episode is more than that, those fun little bits. It's really about, and I think the biggest part of this episode is that hope. Yes, Ezra misread his vision, but he still had hope. He still had hope in that better future, and the Center still inspired hope despite being an Imperial plant. He still created that hope, and yes, the rebels are surely going to let the other cells that they have contacts to know that not to trust the Senator. But the thing is his transmissions went out to everyone, and there could be a few individuals who have been inspired but not been connected to the rebel network yet in some form, and could inspire people to fight against the Empire, resist the Empire as well. That's what was created with the Center. The Empire, like I mentioned, created its enemies, but it's also created hope. Hope in face of tyranny is one of the most consistent things in Star Wars, and that's what this episode was. Ezra, with his vision, he had hope that the Center was on his side. They all hoped it, but even with the Center being shown to be a traitor, being an Imperial loyalist, it's still showing that same hope in a better future. So that's where I'm going to end my review. I do hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know your thoughts on the episode Vision of Hope in the comment section down below. And join me next week for Call to Action. Thank you for watching my video. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to give this video a like and share. Also, consider subscribing to my channel to stay up to date on all my latest content. In the meantime, thank you for watching, and as always, have a good day, a good night, wherever you are. May the Force be with you always.